Good evening from Wiesbaden, Germany. My name is Billy Reinstadler, and today I will be discussing the Fundamentalist Controversy through the lens of Pastor J. Frank Norris. The lip of truth shall be steadfast forever, but he that is a hasty witness frameth a lying tongue. Proverbs 12:19, Dewey Rheims Bible. This verse from Proverbs demonstrates the importance of Liberty University History Department's Biblical Worldview Point 4, namely that commitment to objectivity and honesty is essential to historical investigation. I strive to maintain this objectivity in all my research, including during my research this week of the Fundamentalist Controversy. This controversy pitted fundamentalism against modernism. In his article, Was FDR the Antichrist? The Birth of Fundamentalist Anti-Liberalism in the Global Age, Matthew Avery Sutton states that the rise of the modern university system, urbanization, the popularization of Darwinian evolution, massive Catholic and Jewish immigration, the application of literary criticism of the Bible, and the systematic study of world religions pushed conservative Christians to rethink their theology. In his book, American Apocalypse, A History of Modern Evangelicalism, Sutton provides a brief history of fundamentalism. The term comes from a series of books, The Fundamentals, A Testimony to the Truth, published by the brothers Lyman and Milton Stewart between 1910 and 15. Sutton tells us that the essays in this book covered topics such as the deity of Christ, divine inspiration of the Bible, and opposition to the theory of evolution. Additionally, in the article The Strange Career of J. Frank Norris, Barry Hankins describes fundamentalism as focusing on the fundamentals of the faith, including inerrancy of Scripture, the virgin birth of Christ, his substitutionary atonement, the bodily resurrection of Christ, and the authenticity of his miracles. He also argues that fundamentalism is marked by a willingness to defend Orthodox Christian teaching in a militant manner and separate from other Christians who will not do so. This stands in stark contrast to modernism, which focuses on a critical interpretation of Scripture and does not necessarily interpret it literally. Modernists, in large part, accept the theory of evolution, and some denied that Christ performed any miracles, with others going so far as to deny his divinity. While still other modernists will deny the doctrine of original sin. J. Frank Norris was one of the most influential fundamentalists in America and did much to shape the movement. He was born in Dadeville, Alabama in 1877 and moved to Texas to study at Baylor University, followed by additional study at Southern Baptist Theological Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky. By 1909, he was the pastor of First Baptist Church in Fort Worth, Texas, and began at Temple Baptist in Detroit in 1935, with a combined membership of around 25,000 congregants between the two churches in the 1940s. Norris was a polarizing and sometimes contradictory figure. He was tried and acquitted for murder in 1926, and newspapers from all over the country, including one I found in Alaska, covered his trial. During his trial, while out on bail, he continued to preach, with over 6,000 people continuing to attend his sermons, which speaks to his popularity amongst his followers. Norris espoused fundamentalist views and helped shape them in the early 20th century, focusing on revivalism, holiness, and premillennialism. Norris was a firm believer in all these facets of fundamentalism. He used separatism to lead the Temple Baptist Church of Detroit out of the Northern Baptist Convention when they became too modernist for his liking. He militantly defended doctrine against modernists. He supported Israel and Zionism in the early 1900s, which is proof of his belief in premillennialism, and saw the rise of Hitler and Mussolini as signs of the end times. Finally, he linked defense of the Christian faith with preservation of American culture, particularly with regard to his fierce anti-communist stance. He was a contradictory figure, a Baptist fundamentalist and a Texas Democrat who supported Republican candidates and causes. He was a fascinating figure in the history of the modernist fundamentalist controversy, and his influence in the fundamentalist circles shaped the movement well into the 20th century. Thank you.